I'm Richard Lush, reporting for Cadred.org, and we've already done the Curse NA guys, but I've got Natu, a representative of the Curse European guys, the wonderful Finns. Right, your form online has kind of gone off the rails a little bit since when I had a great time. I was watching the game in ESCA where you guys nipped to overtime, and everyone was like, wow, these guys are like going to be the next level, and it looked like you were going to be for so very long. Then I think it was Nasu left, and it's just kind of been very erratic since then. So I guess the question, rather than just the statements, the opening question would be, what's kind of going on with the team right now?
Wow, that's a wide question right there. Yeah. But we had some issues, obviously, like right after we came back from Thor Open and those first games in the ESCA, Nasu told us that he had a lot of stuff going on in private life, not that well, so he didn't want to be spending so much time playing. And then Aslak told us that he would want to start playing when he gets out of the army, and we decided to give him the chance. Then 2 weeks after, pretty much, he decided to decided to just quit. And then a lot of other stuff happened, and blah 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 blah. Online, like, I don't think we've really been active apart from ESCA. That was like, we had to do that, obviously. So we didn't want to quit it, but we have not been active at anything pretty much. I think we're out of the radar pretty much. Got a new player, KHRN, Kern, whatever, how you spell it, I don't know.
I never try and pronounce these names.
And he's been doing really well with that, I think. And 3.5 weeks of hard practice being going on, and it's just the beginning, and see how far we are right now here.
Well, is it disappointing for you personally? Because I know that you've been around the block for a long, long time. I know that you set yourself very high standards, and you're absolutely right to. But you know, you've gone in a very short period of time from being a team that's, you know, pushing the best team in the world all the way online, and now being, you know, like, you kind of limped across the finish line at ESCA and stuff. So I mean, how are you feeling about all of that kind of decline?
It's really been a lot of things that have been out of our hands. So, you know, if it was like something that we did in particular, then, you know, I'd be disappointed. But, you know, something we cannot blame ourselves, because, you know, these kind of things happen, and all we can do is just pick ourselves up, keep practicing, and do our best, and try to reproduce what we were able to do back then. I mean, we know what we need to do. I mean, the game has gone forward a lot, so, you know, it's really hard to compare what we were back a few months ago to the situation now. I mean, I think we are better than we were a few months ago, but how that compares to other teams is a whole different story, because everyone's been getting better all the time. So yeah, I mean, I'm not disappointed. I'm not like sad or anything. I think we're on our way back.
Yeah. Well, certainly the start of the tournament looks to have been pretty good for you so far. I mean, you guys have had some good results. What's the LAN dynamic of the team been like? I mean, have you been finding it, you know, like, yeah, actually, this could have a happy ending?
I think the biggest issue we have right now is that, like, our standards going, like, we can be really good or we can be really bad, and we've had that issue ever since we were the Hawks, like, yeah, during DreamHack and stuff. Like, back then we were very close from winning very games and stuff like that, but then we screwed up a lot of rounds, and that kind of keeps still happening, and we play sloppy, and we just need to get rid of that, I think, and we'll be good.
You say that you've been playing sloppy. Did you find, because I know it was a very different outcome when you played NIP this time, did you find that playing like the kind of top teams was bringing out the best in you, or bringing out the worst in you?
Wow, I think that game is just something we want to forget about as quickly as possible, because we just got destroyed there, and never really got into it, I think. I mean, I don't even know what happened. I mean, I guess in some sort of level, everyone was like too happy with the fact that we just won the 2 first games, and, you know, we're guaranteed for playoffs. And you just cannot do that when you play someone like NIP. You just got to be 110% into it. And something tells me that we just were not. And I kind of, it felt kind of the same as in Thor Open, a tournament in Sweden, where we got destroyed in the group play. We got like 5 rounds on them on group play, but then we were very close from beating them in the finals. So, you know.
So what, you feel you're a team that'll grow into the tournament and you know, be better in the later stages?
Yeah, we're like a diesel engine. You know, you got to warm it up. It takes a while to get into the groove, and that's something that's been the scenario before. So I'm hoping it's the same here.
I want to pick your brains just a little bit about, you know, what you make of the game at the moment, because there's been a lot of changes, and you're a person, I think, who perhaps doesn't get thought of, you know, so much when it comes to asking, you know, well, what do you make of the changes? I always see the same people being asked, you know, the Navis and guys like that. But, you know, you've been around for a long, long time. You know what you're talking about, right? So, I mean, what do you make of the direction that the game's been going in at the moment?
I think it's changed a lot. I mean, if you look back at demos or VODs from like few months back, I mean, so many things has changed. I'm just hoping that community comes out with good maps. That's something I feel like we should have.
You must be sick of the same, you know, Dust 2, Inferno and all that by now, Christ.
I've been playing like 15 years of these maps, so I mean, it would be pretty good to have some good new ones. I think the pistols, for example, like P250 was OP back a few months ago, but now I think they nerfed it a bit too much. Like the long range especially, it's pretty crappy. At the same time, Glock became like seriously fucked up. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's getting better. Like gradually, it's hard to like, you know, think of a certain thing that I would. I
guess the overall question would be: are you happy playing it right now? I mean, are you sat there playing it and kind of pining like, "Fuck, I wish this was 1.3 or 1.5 or 1.6," or you know, maybe you've even thought, you know, Source wasn't even that bad. I don't know what your thoughts and feelings are, but or do you feel content while you're actually playing it?
I'm happy with it. I mean, I wouldn't be playing if I wasn't. I mean, I have plenty to do outside this gaming stuff, so I wouldn't be wasting my time if I felt the game was crap. I think it's fun. I mean, it's very different. I try not to compare it to any other version, actually, because that's the first mistake you can make. I think a lot of people used to do that. A lot of people are getting over that. I mean, if you just now started Source or 1.6 again, you'd be like, what the hell is this? You know, you kind of get used to it. I think the game is not bad, and it's. I mean, Valve is doing. Even though I'm sure it's not something they're making a lot of money out of, I think they're still doing a pretty decent job with it, regardless of what people say.
So let's turn our eyes back to the tournament. Again, you're a guy, I always like to you know what experienced players are thinking about who's going to win and who's going to be doing it. We've seen a few shocks. I mean, like ESC Gaming have already lost to Mouse Sports. We've seen Navi lose to Epsilon. So there's already been these kind of upsets. Have you got any clear idea about who you think's going to win the tournament? I mean, obviously Nip, but you know, if you can try and make it an interesting way of saying Nip, that would be great.
Oh wow! I actually think we haven't played Fnatic at all in practice, and I haven't even seen much of them. But something tells me that they'll be doing good. I think Epsilon, you know, hard to say. They're young kids. I think with a lot of potential, and maybe not right now is maybe not their time, but in the future they might have a, you know, bright future ahead of them, but I don't know if this tournament. ESC, I don't know if it's such a huge surprise that they lost to Epsilon, was it?
Yeah, ESC lost to Mouse Sports.
Oh yeah, Mouse Sports. That's actually a pretty big surprise to me as well. I don't feel Mouse Sports is that strong. I mean, something just doesn't feel right with those guys. But yeah, I mean, NIP, I don't think they're super amazing. I mean, they're really good, obviously, but they are not like unhumanly good or anything. I think people just they're too humble when they play against them. You just gotta grab your balls and go play, you know, and stop being a pussy.
Well, with that in mind, I mean, there's obviously a lot of teams here, you know, at a super high standard. It's the best tournament we've seen in CSGO to date. If NIP are going to come a cropper, I mean, are people so bored of them winning everything now? Is this going to be the tournament where, as you say, people are going to stop being pussies and actually man up and take it to them?
It could be. I mean, they have so many tournaments going on right now, so I think it's bound to happen. I mean, they're obviously going to have a slump, a bad game. It's just, you know, it's just laws of the nature pretty much, and they're not going to be able to have so much time to. I'm not sure if it's going to be this tournament, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of these tournaments in the upcoming weeks that they're going to, because they're not going to be able to have so much time to rest or practice or, you know, stuff like that. They're going to be traveling a lot. It's pretty tough, you know. It's just going around playing tournament to tournament to tournament. You're going to be studying all the time. It's bound to happen. It's hard to say if it's going to be here because it's BO3s pretty much all the way through. You know, with their experience level and their skill level, it's really hard to beat them in a BO3. I mean, I can imagine them dropping a map quite soon. Whether they're going to drop a match, you know, it's hard to say. But I would hope they do.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people are. The normal question I follow on this with would be about dark horses, but you mentioned Epsilon. Now, I think this is an interesting thing because obviously they've been vilified as being cheats in the community, and I mean, you'll have seen a lot of that kind of thing down the years, no doubt. Do you feel now that they're vindicated with their result over Na'Vi? That some of the players in the Epsilon that people were suspicious about, can we now say those suspicions are dead? I mean, certainly you seem to rate them.
Honestly, I think people are just they don't understand the big difference between playing in a LAN tournament and playing online. There's a huge difference. I mean, the comfortability level that people have at home can be very different. I mean, I'm not sure like how they've been doing before this tournament, but I never thought they actually like cheated or anything. They're just, you know, comfortable playing home, and they're obviously talented and stuff. I don't know how they feel themselves, but I don't think they have really anything to prove to anyone. Just gotta go there, do their own thing, and then let the results do the talking. Pretty much, that's what I would give as an advice, as an old man.
Well, you never found yourself subject to cheating accusations at any point, did you?
There was a certain situation in clan-based like many years ago, but that kind of got out of proportion, I think, with. Yeah, well, let's not go into that.
I won't. It's an interesting story. I'll pick your brains when we're off camera. So I guess final sort of thing for you. I mean, you know, what are you guys realistically aiming for? Because I know it's been a rocky road. We've talked a lot about that, and I know obviously Finnish teams do have a tough time. People don't realise the impact like stuff like national service can have, and you've got a lot of mitigating factors, I think. But you know, when you were planning to get, you know, everything together and with your organisation as well, was there a minimum finish that you guys were going to be happy with? Had you set yourself a target?
We always aim to win. I mean, there's no point going anywhere if you're not going to be aiming to win. You know, getting a good 8 players, woo! No, I mean that's not going to satisfy us. If we're realistic, top 3, obviously, we want to get into the money and get on the podium by the end of it, and then go have a good time. But to pick on that first part of your question, I think people don't realize how much talent has been wasted in Finland due to national service. I mean, there's been so many players that were super good when they were like 17, 18, and then when they turned like 19, they had to go to the army and then never came back. So, I mean, I think the Finnish scene has always been hindered by that fact, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because in Korea, they can actually get special dispensation if they're a cyber athlete, and they don't have to complete their national service. They can defer it because the government recognises esports as being something worthwhile. Is that something you would like to see in Finland?
If we want to grow it in Finland, then yes, that's something that would have to happen. I mean, when you're an athlete and you play for a professional sports team in Finland, you get a certain you get it easier. You can go and play with your club and, you know, do the practices and stuff like that. So, I mean, all it really means that esports needs to grow into an actual sport, sort of, I guess, and then maybe that's possible.
Now, one thing I'm doing in these interviews as a sign-off, which I don't usually do, but everyone's had a go at me for not doing it, is I've been letting people shout out and thank the sponsors. I don't like to do it because in sports interviews no one does it, but I guess you know, it is good that we recognise the people who pay money to get everyone here. So, is there anyone that you would like to give a shout out to?
I would like to thank Curse for making this happen to us, basically, because they're making it happen to us, and yeah, I guess that's the only one I get to thank. Okay. Thank you, Curse.
Well, there we go. Nice and easy. Yeah. But look, it's a pleasure to talk to you on camera as well, finally. It's been a long time coming, I think. So, and best of luck for the tournament as well. And to all the people out there, do stay tuned to cadred.org. We're going to have more interviews like this one from here at Copenhagen Games 2013.